If you're anything like me, then you probably have a case of what I like to call Paul George syndrome. Every season you get into this locked in Black Mamba on my bully shit type mentality, and you start training like crazy only to end up making little progress, if any at all. Now, you might be wondering why you ain't progressing hella, and that's really simple. It's cause track ain't linear, bro. Track ain't a sport like basketball where you can spend hours on hours in the gym and sharpen your skills and get better over like a few weeks or a few months. Like, you don't have that luxury, bro. That's just how it is. The strain that you put on your body when you sprint is something that a lot of other sports really can't relate to when they train for real. And that's not even adding weightlifting on top of that shit. And overtraining is something you really just cannot do in track like you can do in other sports, because it will lead to severe injuries or just minor, like, lingering injuries, and you're just not giving yourself enough time to recover. That being said, I did some research, and I'm finna come up with the best way to optimize y'all training and give yourself enough time to recover. So first, I made a mistake. And what I did was I looked up how the best sprinter of all time, Usain Bolt, trained to, like, get a little guideline of, like, how I should make this plan. Do not do this bullshit. This nigga is a freak. He is a genetic monster. We are not every, like, there is no, like, the percentage of people who have these genetics is very, very slim. So you cannot compare yourself to the best in the world. Do not do that shit. But they said that Usain trains like 6 days a week, 11 months out of the year. And that's a lot, nigga. I'm not gonna hold you. But I do agree with what his coach had him do, which was he had him break up his training sections to focus on each thing individually. So he broke it up into like 4 things. He broke it up into 3 things, not 4. And it was his block start, his acceleration, and his top end speed. And this is really the best way for you to optimize your training, because there's a saying that goes, you cannot catch 2 rabbits at the same time. Meaning, if you're trying to get top end speed and your acceleration, you're not going to be able to get both at the same time. So what you got to do is you got to focus on one thing, because if you focus on weightlifting too much to get explosive, you're going to lose your top end speed. And if you just try to focus strictly on top end speed with no weightlifting, you're going to be like, you're not going to have that explosiveness to get ahead of everybody. So it's just kind of like, it's better to just, that way you'll be able to be balanced, but while optimizing everything fully. So the best way I would do this for y'all, depending on what type of sprinter you are, if you're like a 100 and 200 type of runner, I'd basically recommend the whole off season just straight weights and top end speed training. That means like straight heavy lifting. So in the beginning of the off season, you do full ranges of motion. So like deep squats, like regular squats, full power cleans, all that shit. And then later on, like as it goes and you, like after you get closer towards your season, that's when you should start doing like half reps of motion, meaning like instead of full power cleans, just do hang cleans. Or if you are doing squat, do like quarter squats, like just to get that true explosiveness. You shouldn't still be doing like a full range of motion no more. And mix that with your speed training, which is like just like easy shit, like flying 40s, 50s, and 60s, and like 3 sets of those or some shit like that. Usain Bolt was tripping. That nigga did, like, he was doing shit like that, but he was doing like 10 sets of them bitches. I don't recommend that. That's just me though. But if you're anybody like me who's more of a 200 and 400 guy, the way I'm breaking up my training is like into acceleration, top end speed, and then conditioning. So right now, I'm focusing on like, heavy lifting, getting as strong as possible, and getting my speed work in. And then like later, like in the year, I'll start doing conditioning to get my body right for the season, basically. So now that we've broken up like what you should be doing, like depending on what type of sprinter you are, now we're gonna break up how you're supposed to train and how you're supposed to rest. So me personally, I already told y'all, 6 days a week is fucking crazy. I'm not doing that shit. Especially if you're somebody like me who's in school. Well, I'm gonna be in college, but if you're in high school, you're definitely like this. It's gonna be hard, especially if you don't like. It's gonna be a lot to juggle school and working out that frequently. So I honestly think 4 to 5 days a week is cool, especially during the summer. That's manageable. 4 to 5 days, that's cool. Give yourself 2 days of rest, right? Like back-to-back days of rest. And you can do like rest and active recovery. But active recovery is literally just stretching and going on like a little 10-minute jog or some shit. Nothing like crazy. Also, I strongly advise y'all to do your speed work before you hit the weight room because that shit is just, it should be common sense, honestly, but I gotta remember a lot of y'all are probably going on your own and you've never trained by yourself or trained for real. Cause like you just don't want jelly legs trying to do heavy squat and then go out there and sprint. You're gonna run like a fucking newborn deer. So I highly recommend speed work and then weight room. And then every day after training, no matter how taxing the fucking workout was or whatever it is, make sure you have a cool down and you stretch. No matter what, no matter how taxing you, because I know I be having them lactic workouts and I be feeling like I don't want to do nothing. I want to lay here and die until I get enough energy to drive my ass back home. You don't want to do that. Do your little cool down exercises, stretch. It will help you recover faster. I promise you. Also, if you have a massage gun, use that shit every day. And if you don't have one, I highly suggest you go cop one. But that's basically my method. But at the same time, Usain Bolt, his coach, trained like some of the greatest sprinters known to man. So like clearly whatever he was doing was working. But at the same time, I don't know what the fuck they got in Jamaican waters. So, you know, it clearly worked. But I'm just saying, as a high schooler or somebody like who's around my age level, or really anybody, don't matter how old you are, I highly do not recommend, like, by comparing yourself to Olympians or pro level. I'm not even saying pro because track is not a pro. Olympians or people on that status, like Usain Bolt status, do not try to put yourself on that level. Not saying you can't reach it one day. I'm just saying that's hyper, like, really unrealistic to gauge your training by what the fuck Usain was doing, because he was on some other shit, bro.